I feel like eating lunch at my favorite place, El Restaurant Baratero. Alpha says, relaxed and at ease in his skin, almost as an afterthought. As a game, you are extremely nice. Come with me. Blah blah, says the woman, laughing. He doesn't care what the woman says as long as she feels at ease around him. Take note of the framework that this second example creates. Man is immersed in his own world. He knows where he wants to eat lunch. Because she had his attention, the girl is welcome to accompany him. She's not the prize, but she's pleasant, so she's welcome. In the first case, the reward is the woman, and the man has a week while he doesn't have a place to eat. He knows his worth is less than hers, which makes him nervous, and he has to almost bribe her into talking to him. Take note of how come with me is a command. See, Alpha isn't hesitant to put his balls on the line and say stuff like this to ladies or others. However, make sure to soften the lines by expressing oneself in a fun manner. You don't want to appear gloomy or dictatorial. Finally, notice how, unlike in the first case, lunch is not portrayed as a date. This keeps her from labeling the man as serious relationship material with a long wait for sex. Instead, if sex occurs, he will actively participate in setting the ideal conditions for it. When you believe anything, your mind hunts for more and more evidence to support that idea. That is the usefulness of the prior exercise as a start to believing that you are the ideal lover for all women. When you adopt the mindset of being a good match, remember that when the circumstances are right, all women are inherently promiscuous, that is, a confident man leads them. You don't need the woman's approval or affirmation. She does. To summarize, as a handsome man, 1. Allow women to enter your world, not the other way around. 2. Take the lead, because women are typically passive when it comes to dating and sex. 3. Help women become more emotionally aware. 4. Because he is a valuable man, it is up to women to win his devotion. 5. He doesn't take women or life too seriously. 6. Believe in yourself. Be bold, and think to yourself. 7. You don't require others' approval. The majority of the men I know who are good with women are aware of these factors and aim high. Why? Because they and you know how to take ladies to the pinnacle of fulfillment. 7-step process. I'm dissecting them by distilling them into the 7-step system of seduction below, which will lead you to say hello to a new woman and enjoy orgasms in bed with the herb in just one afternoon. 1. You'll approach a woman and strike up a brief, neutral discussion. 2. At the end of the chat, you either acquire his phone number and schedule an appointment with him, or you end the conversation and receive a rejection letter. 3. When you meet her for your date, act as if you're getting to know her before you have sex. Discuss unrelated topics and just have a good time with her, for they will become horny on the date. She will become increasingly horny as the two of you continue to vibrate towards each other. 5. As she becomes more horny, you should increase the intensity of your contact toward her, starting with her fingers and progressing to her hand, wrist, forearm, upper back, and upper arm. 6. When the time is right, provide a neutral cause for the two of you to spend some time alone together, such as listening to music on a CD player. 7. When the two of you are alone, increase the intensity of the interaction toward sex. None of these processes are difficult, and we'll go over each one in detail later. Persistence. You must take advantage of your interaction with a woman. You must have a great desire for sex. If the interaction becomes unpleasant due to your lack of humor, he may leave you. It's much more vital to be horny if you want her to be horny. While you have the opportunity, speak with a woman. Wait to be explicitly rejected by her rather than saying goodbye if you have to wait for something. Countless times, rather than walking away, I have successfully avoided the discomfort of a conversation pause. This is equally true if you live with a single woman. You must persevere in the face of her token resistance, or else you will find yourself fond of her for the rest of the night. That is, she will get the emotional validation of your attention while you will barely get a kiss. You must achieve your goal in order to get screwed or to obtain their no view. Make no attempt to flee. Beta guys avoid rejection by running away. Most men are terrified of conversing with women they don't know, but conversing with them anyway sets you apart from the majority of them. Then from other backgrounds you'll be rejected a lot, which is good. It is a victory to be rejected by a woman. It indicates that you have the courage to take a chance. You can do whatever you want with your life if you're an alpha. You'll stick with the woman you want to screw because you want to be screwed. Understood? Great. So keep in mind that your goal with the woman you want to have sex with is to keep going until you're screwed or rejected. The boarding house. Now I'm going to tell you about one of my secrets. The woman of your dreams will never knock on your door to enter you while you are alive. That may seem self-evident, but unfortunately, many people lie as if this is the case. They never go out and talk to each other. Instead, they believe that by working hard and earning a lot of money, they would be able to attract the woman of their dreams into their lives one day. Please don't be unhappy. I was merely describing my own situation. The first rule is for men to make an effort to approach women. You should go out and seize control of the situation and work on it. Women aren't going to come up on your doorstep with it. Women constitute up half of the human population. Therefore, you can find and meet them wherever. Because the rules varies depending on where you are, you must adjust accordingly. A 10th chapter, How to Seduce a Woman Successfully from the Beginning. You should be able to have a basic conversation with a woman at the very least. As a result, you should make it a habit to have at least one long and meaningful conversation with a lady every day. It may be anyone, including your sibling, a platonic acquaintance, a coworker, or anyone else. The key goal is to become accustomed to conversing with ladies and to do so effortlessly and spontaneously. By the way, don't try too hard to make people like you when you talk to them. Simply engage in a normal conversation in which you are free to be yourself. Do the same to get acclimated to talking to new ladies. For the next 3 weeks, you will engage in conversation with at least 4 gorgeous women per week. If you make sure you have something to talk about that isn't about you, this might be a lot easier than it sounds. How do I know where you're from? Hello. I need a quick feminine opinion. I remark to a woman. I'm getting a perfume for my sister or mother, or anyone. Would you rather have fragrance X or fragrance Y? I know it's unconvincing, but it'll at least get you talking to a woman you don't know. Practice tackling for success with your openers. Now I'm going to concentrate on how to talk to ladies, what to do and how to do it. You must be in the correct emotional state to conduct the boarding. You must have a high sex desire as well as a calm confidence. If you're frightened and afraid, and you're mulling over what to say, the woman will find you unattractive, if not creepy. I understand that in an ideal world, women should be flattered that men struggle to find the right words to say to them. As a man who wants to sleep with women, we may need to change our expectations. You must be self-assured, warm, and relaxed, rather than panicked and asexual. Remember, every girl wants sex. Some people have psychological barriers, such as frigidity. But most people will have sex with you if you are an alpha guy. Establish the appropriate conditions for sex, and lead the interaction toward sex. The use of an approach phrase is where a lot of males go wrong with women. The trouble with opening openers is that they expose your attraction to a woman before you've even had a chance to say anything. You don't want her to decide whether or not she likes you right away unless you have something that makes you look attractive. Instead, it's preferable to remain undetected. You can presume there is attraction if you demonstrate your alpha man personality. I go into more detail on what it means to assume attraction farther down. You not only want to stay under their radar, but you also want to attract their notice. By talking to her, you can pique her attention. Finally, you should start by having a neutral chat with her. You know how irritated you get when you're out strolling and some homeless man approaches you and asks, "How are you?" When this happens, you become defensive because you know the jerk is after your money. He's attempting to establish trust with you far too soon. He has no reason to desire to connect with you because he doesn't know you. Women, on the other hand, have the same reaction. When you approach a female and ask for her confidence right away, her defensive shield comes up and blocks you. When you have a typical, neutral chat with the girl, on the other hand, she does not have those early defenses, and, as long as you are persistent and sexual, you will find yourself having breakfast in your underwear with a woman the next morning if you have that initial shield with her and have a normal discussion and take on the report. More on this later. As a result, there are 9 hypnotic words, as I like to call them. These include everything I've already mentioned: going under a girl's radar, gaining her attention, getting her interested in the first chat, and remaining perfectly neutral. Hello, I need a quick female take on this, is the first thing you should say to a girl you meet at a bar. You can be extremely flexible if you obtain their input on this, but make sure the topic is interesting for ladies. Examples: did you see something in the Cosmopolitan the other day? What are your thoughts on this tea? I'm considering purchasing this painting. What are your thoughts about it? What should I respond to a woman who wonders if her clothing make her seem fat? Tell him about a date situation a buddy, guy of yours had in front of a girl, where my friend only studied with her for the entire day. She ripped a page from her book and tossed it at him like a paper airplane. He grinned as she laughed, then he wanted to do the same. But she became serious and said, "No, don't do it." He said he looked like an idiot. What should he have done? He wondered. Inquire whether your partner spends all day playing video games. What are your thoughts on this? Then look into how your friend's girlfriend dumped him because he played every day. Initiate a conversation about what was going on at the time. If you're going to a dog rescue event, for example, bring up the animals. Adoption. Beautiful weather today. Even if it isn't, you must try this minty variety. Say this at the grocery store. What are your thoughts? As long as you remain neutral, you can talk to a girl about almost anything, but make sure it's a topic that you're interested in as well. You'll appear more sincere and less like you're attempting to win her over. Also, never, ever, 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 I simply use the above list as conversation starters, not as a script. You will crash and burn if you look like a stage agent reading lines, which took me a long time to figure out. Another important point to remember, and one that took me a long time to discover out, is to avoid appearing too polished or as if talking to her is too simple. If she doesn't, she'll say something along the lines of, "Are you a seller of something?" or "I needed to see him sooner." Instead of being ordinary, lazy, and carefree, your major topic of conversation could be as simple as your immediate surroundings. Whether you're in a movie theater, ask her if she's seen a specific film and what she thought of it. Before the movie, tell you a story about anything fascinating that happened to you. I told a girl I conquered in a movie theater and eventually romanced one of my movie stories. I brought one of my former girlfriends to watch a movie, and it was just the two of us and these 8 teenagers. They were all obnoxious and annoying before the movie began. My partner became enraged and shouted, "You're free to stop talking. Thank you for letting me see the film." They all gave me a dirty look because, as males, we are not allowed to fight women. But we are allowed to fight other guys. I went to the bathroom after a bit, and there they were. All of them. I had the impression that they were all about to slam into me. Sorry, we didn't mean to hurt you. We didn't mean to offend your girlfriend. They said later. You've had enough with that woman. They wanted to apologize for their behavior. It turned out. I understand that the plot isn't rational, but it doesn't bother a lady. When you tell stories and express emotions, you must be certain that they are true. Using a whining voice while impersonating adolescent lads, for example, has more impact in the example above. Use your own stories instead of mine. If you're in the waiting room of a dental clinic as I was a few months ago, ask her if she's ever seen that particular dentist and what she thinks of him as I did with this girl. I got her number and we were 4. The next day, have a great time. First having a coffee, then going shopping, then going to a bar. Then Mayhouse followed. Tell yourself that you should be wary of dentists these days because of Dr. Finger. A dentist with the fattest toes you've ever seen in your life. She should be laughing at this time. You can discuss why you believe it's fascinating that people's occupations are linked to their surnames. Dr. Finger practiced dentistry. You also knew Amy Salmon, who worked in the field of fish conservation. If the female is interesting, she will relate unusual, comparable coincidences or discuss anything else to keep the discussion going at this point. If the conversation turns two-way, this is a good way to measure their availability to you. A lady who refuses to strike up a conversation with you is either uninterested in you, unwilling to offer you a choice, or simply nervous. If it's the final one, simply take the girl's phone number and look for another opportunity. It's impossible to have sex with a nervous girl on the same day. Allow the conversation to flow once you've made your initial remark and she has responded. Change the topic. Discuss anything else that comes to mind, such as something that piques your attention. Simply read today's psychology. The key is to discuss a variety of topics. What motivates you to accomplish this? You want her and yourself to get the impression that you can talk about anything. You've always been in a conversation that seems to go on for hours since you and the other person are always thinking about fresh connections related to the conversation. That's the kind of connection you want to establish. You may always go back to earlier conversational links, reopen them, and continue talking about them. This is to give you the best chance of avoiding awkward pauses. Your attitude will be the most crucial thing. No matter how alpha masculine you prefer to brag about yourself, if you are afraid, she will sense it and you will be rejected. Approach with the knowledge that women adore sex and, as a result, there's a strong chance she'll enjoy you when you speak with her, even if she doesn't. It's up to her to inform you, not your attempts to read her mind. Relax and let the conversation flow if you're having a typical chat. You want to be on the same vibration as her and get the report. When she asks your name, tell it proudly and give her an opportunity to say hers. This creates a dynamism that is pleasurable to touch. When she starts telling stories about herself in response to your prior queries, you'll know she's interested in the conversation. In other words, as I say, the conversation will become two-way. You're in the middle of a routine chat with pals you've known for a long time at this point. Even though you have only known this woman for a few minutes, you want her to feel at ease as if she is familiar with you. Don't bombard someone with questions if you've known them for a long time. Instead, you tell stories. Speak about what's going on around you, much as you can't believe how much junk food people buy in the afternoon at the supermarket. Lean back and feel the vibrations with her. I find that I am more successful when I have lower energy levels than when I have high energy levels. The reasons are that if you come in really active, she won't feel obligated to match your emotional state. And women are more sexual when they are relaxed. Setting up an appointment. It's time to seal the deal when both parties are speaking freely and you have a good vibe. You have the option of going right away or getting a phone number and scheduling your date later. Based on whether the two of you have time for this point, make your decision. The date. As a general rule, you should avoid going on a date unless you have plenty of time. So, if she has a scheduled appointment, acquire her phone number and schedule a time later. Setting the date. The excellent one makes it seem less official and more like a social gathering than a work meeting. Boring, I think. Something along the lines of, I'm in the mood for a cup of coffee. To be honest, I'd be delighted if you could join me. The following is a summary of the rules. 1. Create the impression that they won't be around for long. This will alleviate any reservations you may have about meeting a guy for coffee or anything. 2. Make it sound unpretentious. You don't want her to think of a date in the traditional sense, because she'll fall into the old anxious dynamics and make you wait for sex. Most have a policy of not having sex with a man on the first date. If you want to gain her phone number, simply say something along the lines of, I loved speaking with you, but I must depart now. Maybe we can get together at some point. If she responds positively, such as sounds lovely, ask for her phone number. You control the frame as an alpha guy and don't bargain if she doesn't want it. Approaching a lady alone is usually preferable to approaching a woman with typical friends who will not abandon her to separate with a person who barely knows her to separate with an individual as soon as they satisfy her. If she insists on going, the gang will stop her. If the woman you board is with a group, I feel that getting her phone number and meeting her later is the best way to approach it. Success on the phone. You'll discover all types of no-call guidelines for 3 days in most relationship manuals. You walk through life like an alpha male and don't want to play games, so call whenever you want. Indeed, I have discovered that it is preferable to call earlier rather than later. If you like, you can call her that night or the next day. That way, her memory of your conversation with her is still fresh. When you call, you should be confident and at ease with yourself. Remember, you're not pushing her to talk to you. Instead, you're giving her the honor and privilege of doing so. Each person is unique, but there are certain general guidelines that you should be aware of when making a phone call. Doing something active while on the phone has helped me relax and not overthink the conversation. Eat a sack of potatoes, perhaps. You can also call her while driving or walking your dog. When you're sitting at home doing nothing, it's easy to have second thoughts. A roommate or family member may answer the phone when you call. "Hi, is there?" Most guys say when they call in a worried tone of voice. When you do that, many people automatically become defensive and cocky, and say something nice if they're nice. "Who's calling? Please." This causes you to take a step back, and you'll come across as nervous and so unappealing when you speak with your girl. Being comfortable when you phone and when someone answers, for example, is a better method to deal with your roommate or family. "Hello, my name is, I'm going to phone." It's ideal if your girl is the one who answers the phone. Jump down to your destination. If you see someone else who isn't your girl, strike up a friendly conversation with them. Maintain a light-hearted tone in your chat. If you live with friends who live with it, it will make your life a lot easier. If they claim the girl isn't here, offer to take a message and say, "Thank you, but I'm leaving a message." They'll say they called her. Believe me, the lack of a message adds to the intrigue. When it comes to the race to get to the phone, most dating books are incorrect. Don't feel obligated to observe such guidelines unless you're in a hurry. As an alpha male, maintain your relaxed frame. You're calling because you want to talk in private, not because you're desperate for a date and have to think of anything to say while pretending to be busy. Also, there is a lot of information on how to chat to girls on cell phone numbers on the internet, but my advice is to ignore some of it. Individuals will be required to relate personal stories, which you will adopt as your own. This, however, is a major blunder because you come out as a liar. It has to be unique. Tell the girls you call about your personal life. When your female is on the phone, don't try to force the conversation. Instead, keep talking about how you met her and how you acquired her number. Return to your conversational threads for a moment. You'll be able to return her to the state she was in when she first met you if you accomplish this. Then start telling engaging stories about something interesting that has happened in your life. Your goal is to be lighthearted and humorous while simply vibrating with the female. Make sure you're using animated sounds rather than filtered ones. When speaking, avoid monotonous phrases and low volume. When chatting, stay away from topics that make you nervous. This includes stuff like asking her what's she up to, inquiring how her day went, rather than telling her how your day went, and informing her you're the man from the bookshop who knows her or wherever you met her. Make no attempt to create a report. Consider assuming the report already exists. This is how you may unwind while having a stimulating chat. Meeting the girl will be simple once they have chatted for a bit. She'll probably always do things in a roundabout way. Say something along the lines of, "Hey, I'm swamped with work, but it'd be fun to grab a cup of coffee for a while. When are you available?" Of course, your purpose isn't to hang out with her for a few minutes, but don't tell her that. To weaken her barriers against having sex on the first date, you convince her that your time is limited. Don't be concerned if she becomes defensive or responds negatively. You had at least 10 or 15 minutes to practice talking to a female on the phone. Suddenly you have no idea. Simply put, it was an honor to speak with you. I suppose I'll speak with you again later. "Hey, I'll call you this week," don't end up saying. In their view, the former makes you seem more difficult and unpredictable. When you're talking hand in hand with a woman, it's time to gradually elevate the conversation toward sex. Recognize that women crave sex almost as much as men do, and then go ahead and give it to them. You'll concentrate on the following 5 areas. 1. Try to stay as comfortable as possible, i.e., avoid being worried or uneasy. 2. You'll get a sexy and enticing sensation. 3. Interact with them as though they were old acquaintances. 4. Taking the initiative and sticking with it in the direction of romance. On a first date, there is just one place you should take a lady. Take her to a place where romantic isn't usually associated, because you're not bringing her out to a beautiful restaurant or doing anything she identifies with a date. This indicates you're not taking her out on a date. If you do, she'll have the same make-her-wait mentality as the last 100 gentlemen who bought her a wonderful dinner. Instead, pick a relaxed lunch spot, such as a coffee shop or a low-cost restaurant. Don't make a big deal over who pays for the food, because the 100 men from the previous dates paid for it because it was clear that they wanted to be with her, because you're trying to get to be with her. As an alpha guy, you shouldn't do any of these. The attraction that a woman feels is killed by these aromas of misery. Sex isn't a big deal for a more attractive guy since he has it all of the time. A woman must earn his attention, not the other way around, if she wants it. To put it another way, he's a test for her, not a guarantee. Spending money on a lady, as I previously stated, diminishes your perceived value in her eyes. To save money when going out with the girl, you don't want to come across as stingy, though. My favorite spot to meet is a coffee shop because it is relaxed, a highly public area where ladies feel safe, and a place where spending more than a few dollars is never necessary, so it will never be a problem if you decide to buy him a cup of coffee. Another benefit of meeting in a cafe is that you avoid scheduling a date where everyone is worried, such as when going out to dinner on a first date, because a coffee shop is somewhat relaxed and a suitable environment for a meeting. When picking where to date a female, relaxation should be a top priority. It can be intimidating if the setting is overly luxurious. Remember that a woman must feel at ease in order to be receptive to sex. Make an effort to visit a location near your house. The longer the travel from the meeting location to your home, the more time the lady has to notice her hot emotional condition and start having terrible thoughts about being on her way to a man's first date's house. Something else to think about. Wherever you go with the females, become a frequent customer. In my case, I'm a natural in a nearby coffee shop. Befriending staff is one tip. As a result, when the girl joins you on the site, she will notice that people recognize and admire you, so elevating your social status. The social status of a man is highly valued by women. This is advantageous since the girl notices that others are familiar with and like you. That suggests you're a regular guy rather than a weirdo to her. While we're on the subject of your social standing, another idea is to take the female somewhere where you're well known or well liked. If you're the boss at work, for instance, set up a meeting with the girl before your date. Do the polar opposite of what the etiquette books say by taking your place at the rendezvous. You must sit in the same spot where the female must sit on the wall side seat, with your back to the wall. Close your eyes and close your mouth, because she's seated in front of the table. She can only see you in the wall. This reduces the amount of time you have to deal with distractions. You'll keep her attention on you rather than competing with the other people in the waiting room. The view of the river, the buildings on the street, the people in the waiting room, and so on. You don't want something more interesting than you to draw their focus away from you. Keep in mind that I've been discussing where you want to go the entire time. This is a crucial factor to remember. You want to keep the frame under your control, instead of the other way around. Let her into your world, so don't be like those whiny youngsters that ask, "Where would you like to go?" Make a mental picture of a location and then bring it to life. This can, and should, change later in the relationship. But first, have a destination in mind and think to yourself, I'm going to do something fun, and this lady is simply coming for a walk. On a date, how to make a simple conversation work. Keep your speech conversational, as if you were conversing with a buddy. If you want your conversation to be free, flowing, and natural, keep in mind that you're taking your time getting to know her. Relax and don't overthink anything. Here are a few great ideas for topics to discuss. Your life has given you some interesting stories. She'll most likely begin to speak about anything noteworthy that has happened in her life. Tell her you'd like to learn more about something she says if it interests you. However, don't act as if you're interested in something when you're not. Ladies can tell when you're lying. Facts from your past that are relevant to this conversation. Make these significant occurrences emotionally significant, much as if you witnessed something fascinating, scandalous, or out of the ordinary. She'll most likely inform you of pertinent information, celebrities, television shows, and films, even if you don't watch much TV. A few minutes on the news channels or the internet can help you catch up quickly. www.thehollywoodlist.com is a celebrity gossip website that can help you strike up a conversation with practically any woman. Music. Look through the pages of Rolling Stone magazine to learn about current music and how to talk about it in a fun way. Food. It makes no difference whether a lady is overweight or skinny. The odds are she is fascinated with this subject. Holidays. Discuss the most intriguing characteristics of the places you've visited. Your life's passions. Do you have any hobbies or interests? Or isn't it? Develop some if you don't already have any, and hone your skill to speak about them. Men and women have different characteristics. This is something that a lot of girls can talk about for hours. Shoes. Women have an odd fascination with shoes, and you can easily have a half hour of worthwhile conversation with any woman simply by asking her to teach you about shoes. It's fine if you ask her about herself, but don't do it all the time. Why? When you're chatting to someone you know, why don't you ask a lot of questions? And keep in mind that you're attempting to give her the impression that this guy is wonderful to chat to. It's like I've known him for years. Instead of asking questions, gather knowledge and make statements. It's fine to inquire. What types of books do you enjoy reading? I'd love to hear about the novels you like to read, is a more trustworthy way to phrase it. From the minute you communicate your feelings and reactions, this conveys your vitality and is a more personal expression. What you say is irrelevant because a woman will not have sex with you based solely on what you say. However, if you bring up the incorrect topics, she will defend herself. Many men make this mistake, so pay close attention to this list of 14 subjects you should never bring up in conversation with a lady you want to have sex with. 1. Negative issues, such as how much she despises her job. Maintain a cheerful tone in your interactions. You want her to share your joyful feelings. Also, you are the man with whom she will have sex, not her psychologist. Instead of you, have your buddies listen to your worries. If she brings up a negative topic, redirect the conversation to something you'd rather talk about. I'll help you get your mind off that difficulty. Say something kind before changing the subject. 2 things that are extremely negative about you. Don't tell him about your 2 years in prison, how much you despise your dead-end career, or how shy you are when it comes to dating girls. However, she does not know anyone who is flawless, so you should occasionally reveal the fewest flaws, such as how frightened you get when giving a speech in front of huge crowds, how bad you keep your car clean, or how you have always been afraid your parents would die. Talking about tiny flaws can boost their fondness for you because, A, it humanizes you and allows you to relate to it. B, demonstrate that you aren't attempting to gain their approval. 3 contentious issues. Please accept my apologies, gunman. If the number of people who own firearms irritates her, sex will be the last thing on her mind. It's also possible that you support viewpoints that disqualify you in her eyes. For example, she may hold strong views on homosexual marriage that are diametrically opposed to yours. Anything with that potential should be avoided. If the woman brings up religious or political matters, attempt to agree to the extent possible. Don't be a coward and give up your primary points. But if you disagree with her, you can add something like, "That's a valid point. I admire how well informed you are. Did you know that?" Then switch the focus to someone else. 4 problems that are related to boring women. Save that topic for your night out with friends if you're wondering whether the New York Yankees will deal their pricey pitcher and steroid addict for the Boston outfielder junkie. Women are also unconcerned about your car's new synchronized hydraulic turbocharger. Me too, is almost invariably the response. When you tell this to her, she will. Most girls, for some reason, don't seem to mind if your automobile is filthy. What counts to them is the state of your home. This is another weakness you may show that will ensure you a Me Too response from a woman. They're also not interested in how you spent your time on a computer game or any other computer-related topic of conversation. 5. A technical problem. When you're with your nerdy friends, don't waste time stressing over your enhanced 1 GB RAM. Save it for your colleagues if you need to explain what a RAM is and how it operates. This must be clearly structured in your mind, albeit I can't always say it. Women must be emotionally involved in order to be sexually inclined. The emotional area of their mind stiffens when you engage them logically. So, don't be monotonous. 6. Sensitive subjects. When you explain that you don't like cream in your coffee because it gives you diarrhea, you're not making yourself more sexually attractive. Unfortunately, this is a true story about one of the lads I train. Surprise, he has no idea why the girl has lost interest in him. Also, don't make a joke about your ability to fart. Things like that aren't entertaining for women. They discuss them. 7 topics that may insult women. On several subjects, there are some distinctions between men and women. Hardy females, even the most hooked drug users, have a strong fed instinct. Sure, this is clear at times. When a buddy of mine drove over a squirrel and left it moaning about the road, he told a woman what he thought was humorous. It goes without saying that he returned home alone that night. Date your ex-boyfriend or another guy you like. When this happens, shift the subject as quickly as you can. Even though the female claims to despise her ex, she remains attracted to him. If not, I'd be uninterested and unwilling to discuss it. The idea is for her to think of you and only you when she thinks of boys. 9. Sexuality. Don't say anything about sex because it will trigger the part of his brain that has been programmed to think, "Oh, this guy only wants one thing. I must keep him waiting, or else others will think I'm just any guy." Be sexy, but don't say anything about sex, and expect her to get as horny as you are gradually as she turns you on. I'll go over this notion in more detail in the next part. 10 indicators with a low status. To avoid talking about topics like bragging about yourself, go to the chapter on how to be nice. 11. Inundate her with inquiries. If you try to tie a connection to it rather than operating as if it already exists, you're likely to fail. Why? Because acting like someone she just met will put you in that category, putting sex out of the question. Instead, you should make her see you as the guy she can get along with right away. So talk about topics that you would discuss if the two of you were at ease and confident. When you get to know someone, you don't bombard them with inquiries. Instead, you construct sentences and engage in ordinary conversation. This should also apply to women. 12. Encryption. You can find pages on the internet that claim to teach you how to mesmerize women or change their emotional states. Canned words and anecdotes are used to make ladies giggle and put them in a hypnotic mood. I'm not saying this stuff doesn't work. The problem is that unless your shipment is exceptional, you'll come across as a phony if you start talking a lot of lines to it. The tactics in this book are more simpler and will get you to sleep with girls just as well as any other strategy. Why waste hours memorizing lines when you can just improve your appearance and be yourself around women? 13. A romantic dialogue. Yes, you heard correctly. When you're in Spanish class, not on a date, recite Shakespeare's poems. Romance should follow sex rather than precede it. If you set the romantic tone, the woman will almost certainly make you wait for sex. You prefer to develop a dynamic where sex is a given and not a huge deal. Not something you have to endure for months in anticipation of the great day of deflowering because you are the dominant guy who controls the frame. 14. Too much laughter. It helps to be naturally clever and entertaining during a discussion, and many males who are good with girls can make them laugh. In any case, don't overdo it. The woman will not take you seriously or see you sexually if you use too much comedy. Remember that you are in charge of the interaction with a woman, so get in the right state of mind first. You are not a clown, but a sexual man and an alpha male, getting the conversation started on an emotionally relevant level. It's critical to appeal to a girl's emotions when speaking with her. Simply put, a woman who is emotionally devoted is more responsive to sex. Instead of mentioning to a friend, "I've traveled more than 5 miles," you should say, "You wouldn't believe what I saw early when I was driving." She will be excited and will ask you what it was. The greatest method to learn how to communicate to a lady in an emotionally meaningful way is to simply tell them about your daily experiences in a way that allows them to feel the same way you did. Have you ever been shouted at by your boss while you were strolling down the sidewalk? Did you notice an amazing lake that someone had created? Did you disgrace yourself in front of a large crowd this morning? Things like that. When you were experiencing a powerful feeling, no matter what emotion it was, are the types of conversational threads that girls are drawn to. Do you recall where I said in this guide that you should have at least one nice discussion with a woman every day? One of the advantages you will gain from this is an understanding of the types of things that interest women. Emotionally meaningful ideas will come naturally to you over time. It's also a good idea to accompany women and observe how they interact with one another. Then you can chat to them in the same way but be macho about it so you don't become their gay best buddy. Pairing the importance of laughter. Laughter can be a bonding experience for women, so be the person that makes her giggle every now and then. I'm not trying to be a comedian all of the time, but I do like to make amusing comments now and then. By the way, do not attempt to be clever, funny, or playful. Avoid all of these things. Improve your IQ, and make as many hilarious or witty comments as you like. And keep in mind that even if something seems mildly amusing, the woman will laugh at the mere fact that you two agree. Flirting comes easy to women, but most men struggle with it, and you'll be able to overcome it. The hair of taker. Sending mixed messages is what I'm referring about. Women like to tease us because they like it. These ladies tease one another with their glances. They make seductive eye contact with the boys before averting their gaze. They challenge us with their fashion sense, wearing sensual clothes that show us just enough, but not too much. Strip club dancers carry out the provocation's ultimate purpose. They grasp the boy's tie and get so close to him that they almost kiss him. After all of that, they abruptly alter, turn around, and turn away from you. They then repeat the process. Consider how dancers get to turn you up, then cool you down, then turn you on again. These ladies do it on a daily basis and on a variety of levels. Women do it because they understand that foreplay starts long before you enter the bedroom. He teases a woman in a lighthearted way because she adores him. Provoke her by asking her about his answers to your questions the way you saw its quirks and idiosyncrasies. When she says things that are disrespectful to me, I call her on it. With a devilish smile, you roll up a piece of paper and place it in your lips. Imagine your every interaction with a woman as if you were her older brother and she was your amusing little sister. Keep everything lighthearted and playful. Attraction signs. I don't think I need to go over all of the attraction cues that you'll find in relationship literature. The reason for this is because if a woman is clinging to you, chatting to you, and being pleasant, she certainly does not detest you. Prior to that, it's always conceivable that she only likes you as a friend, even if the more you push, the less she likes you. Therefore, my advice is to learn and memorize the following list I've provided, then attempt to forget it. And this is because examining minor nuances like how forcefully she twirls her hair around her fingers will immobilize you during chats. Once you've had enough experience with women, you'll be able to spot the indicators of attraction on your own. The following is a list that is not arranged in any particular order. 1. She compliments you on almost everything you do. 2. She becomes nervous when she's near you. Examine his muscles for symptoms of nervousness, such as stretching. 3. She taunts you in a humorous manner. 4. She makes an attempt to express her admiration for the same things you do. 5. She discusses potential future activities. Are you a fan of vintage clothes stores as well? We should go someday, she could say. By the way, this is something you should also tell the ladies about. Couldn't you take it a little too seriously? Act as if you're having fun. On 5th Avenue, we could seek for the tightest purple pimp-looking outfits. 6. Look at the foot of her top leg when her legs are crossed. If he's pointing at you, that means you've gotten his entire attention. 7. When the talk becomes silent, she makes an effort to keep it going. You can even test her attractiveness by allowing the discussion to pause or terminate on your part every now and again. Then see if she picks up the discussion again. 8. She puts her hand on her cheek. It is a sign that a person is pondering about something when they touch their face. Look for this indicator in combination with others on the list to ensure she is thinking positive thoughts. 9. She locks her stare on yours and maintains it. 10. She imitates your actions. Women are naturally docile and will follow the lead of a man they like. Keep an eye on her to see how she does. It has a similar stance to yours. Adjust his voice's loudness to match yours. Adjust his voice's pitch to match yours. Laugh when you laugh, and match your breathing pattern. 11. Using your thumb and index finger, peel a cylindrical object such as a wine glass or a pencil from top to bottom. This indicates that you have a great influence on her. Big boy. 12. She tilts her head to the side or back. As she does so, notice how her hair sways. 13. While he is looking at you, she touches his face. 14. She removes her shoe or drapes it from her foot. 15. She rubs the top of her chest with her fingertips. 16. She fluffs her hair with her palm on the back of her head. 17. When she sees you, she plays with her hair. 18. Rather than a forced smile, she displays a real one. Her pupils are wide and dilated, so her eyes shine. 20. She occasionally lifts her brows. Her nipples stiffen at number 21. Of course, you can only say this if she's dressed appropriately. 22. She has a relaxed expression on her face. However, a non-relaxed expression might be fine in some situations, such as when a lady is so attracted to you that she is nervous. 23. Her attention is fixed on yours. Your pupils expand, grow. 24. Even when there are other people around, she concentrates her attention on you. 25. She speaks to you while touching you, even if it's accidental. Ladies are quite conscious of their bodies, so touching you will rarely be an accident. When she laughs at one of your humorous quips, watch her touch your arm to stress a point or stroke her feet against yours. 26. She laughs at your comments as if they're the most hilarious things they've ever heard, even if they're only somewhat inventive. 27. She displays her tongue by touching it with her front teeth or moistening her lips. 28. She sits up swiftly, her arm muscles stiff and her chest high, her body inclined towards you. 29. She extends her palms in the direction of you. The open hands signal that she is receptive to you. 30. She plays with her bracelet or touches her wrist. 31. You develop a flushed appearance. Keep a close eye on her to see if she flushes. This could also indicate that she's horny. 32. She works with her earrings or touches her earlobes. 33. She inquires about her own situation. They won't be the same shallow questions she's asked everyone, where are you from? Instead, they'll be deeper inquiries into what makes you tick. Example: what are your life's passions? 34. When she speaks to you, she is animated. 35. Your tone of voice changes slightly, half an octave or about. 36. She tucks her blouse into place. A lady can send you indications that she isn't interested in you. These messages are usually unconscious, and women are not always aware of them. Women will sometimes do it exaggeratedly to try to give you a hint. Be cautious in your thoughts because you'll need to observe numerous of these indications emerge before you can draw any conclusions. When a person crosses their arms, it is usually because they are cold rather than because they are uncomfortable. Also, see if you can persuade a woman to verbally express her rejection of you. I've had a woman send me rejection signals on several occasions. I continued in the talk, however, and eventually fucked her. 1. A gentle touch, shaking hands without strength, without interest. 2. She shifts her gaze away from you, especially when you're chatting to her. 3. She makes a token effort to converse with you. Give one-word replies. 4. Crossing your arms across your chest as a barrier. 5. Bend your knees and cross your legs at the ankles. 6. She has a habit of scratching his nose. Blood gathers in a person's nose when they are uncomfortable, causing them to itch. 7. She leans back and away from you when you move your body language towards her. 8. She doesn't appear interested in chatting to you. 9. Her voice has a neutral tone. Assume for a moment that you constantly attract a woman. Even interpersonal interactions aren't accurate in complete predictions. They're founded on our attitudes, so take use of that. She will catch your wave and be impacted by you if you have a strong inner attitude that says, "Of course she is drawn to me." Women want to keep boys waiting for sex out of a need for comfort and well-being. If he's lucky, he might just require 3 dates. But many women make the guy wait months. As we mentioned previously, fortunately, there is a technique to bypass that restriction. It's what I refer to as the grooming technique. If you pay attention to intimate couples, you'll notice an interesting occurrence. Both the man and the woman are at ease with each other. Only people who enjoy being around each other engage in this type of conduct. Of course, once you've established a relationship in which you feel at ease in a woman's eyes, you're well past the point where the two of you are comfortable having sex. Do you want to join me? You can use this as a psychological weapon to make her feel more at ease in your presence. Tell her to close her eyes and stay still in the middle of a conversation. Pretend he's missing an eyelash and convince him you took it out. Tell him to stop again after you've both eaten and left the restaurant. Brush an imaginary bit of food away from her bottom lip with your finger. The impersonating boyfriend approach produces nuclear, fantastic results. To begin with, this unconsciously signals that the two of you are quite comfortable with each other. Second, it entails stroking your face, bringing your heads closer together, and moving toward an understanding session. Third, you're contacting an erogenous zone if you touch her bottom lip. The nerve terminals on a woman's lower lip are numerous. Sex hormones are released when this area of the body is stimulated. Make this seduction tactic a part of your arsenal, and you'll be more successful than you've ever been before. Instead of waiting months, you should be able to have sex in a couple of hours. How do you know when it's the proper moment to have her alone with you and when it's not? When a woman feels at ease and confident around you, she will become more sexually attracted to you. Observe her gradually become excited. Keep an eye out for these 8 telltale signs that say, I want you to put it on me. 1. Look at your mouth before returning your gaze to your eyes. 2. Her eyes are glistening and damp. 3. She puts her hand to her mouth. 4. She strokes, rubs the neck. 5. Your face's skin is flushed and pallid at the same time. 6. Her gaze is drawn to your genitals. 7. She straightens her skirt, or her legs, or her stockings. 8. She looks at me with a hungry expression on her face. It should be clear what's on your and her minds. It is now the appropriate time to leave your current location, cafe, restaurant, bar, etc., and go somewhere where you are alone. We're going to have sex. You don't want to say. The simplest approach to get a woman out of her arousal on the first date is to express your want to sleep with her. Instead of stating it, say something non-sexual and benign to get the two of you alone. As long as a woman is sufficiently excited, she will agree to go somewhere where the two of you are alone, which is usually his or your home. Women, on the whole, prefer to be in their own houses. It doesn't matter what reason you use to stay home alone. To get over any concerns, I like to make up time limits. I only have a few minutes. One advantage is that there is an innocent-sounding cause for both of us to be together. You'll enjoy my stamp collection. When you're going somewhere where you'll be alone, it's best to keep talking and keep her excited. You don't want her to have time to consider what she's doing, or for a friend to ring and say she won't be joining you. As a result, and to date, I prefer the women of a coffee shop that is within walking distance of my house. This way, when we walk home for a few moments, I'll be able to join my hands with theirs. How to make a woman feel very happy and sexy. What you want sex to appear in her as if it happened on its own. After all, she was only going to spend a few minutes at your house. Right. If you go to your or his place, save the conversation concerning the issue you are discussing. Save the topic when you get out of the car in the parking lot or driveway. Save the talk till you get to the door. It's a tactic he uses to keep her emotionally focused. If you interrupt the conversation, she will begin to think about the problem, and when she thinks about it, logic dictates that emotion will overpower her. In this scenario, you will hear the dreaded words, "I need you to give me a hint," and at this point, you should give her the impression that you are alone and isolated. If you're at home, pique his interest with his book collection and DVD collection. Show him all the wonderful and unusual things you have in your house if you're at home. Isn't it true that you have some cool and unique things in your house? If not, go out and acquire some. Anything on which you can have a dialogue would be beneficial to have at the show. A table at a pre-booked cafe at a location where you've been traveling. Albers prepared by your grandmother. Floor's interesting reports. Those with interesting things to discuss, such as Psychology Today and Hospitality Weekly. As opposed to Maxim and Playboy, the Jade Tree and the Cast Iron Plant are two plants that are both tough and attractive. Maintain the security of your home. It wasn't as if it was created for a strict guy's eye, but having it look as if it wouldn't fail a health department inspection was a good start. Instead of a poster, hang images on the wall. Make sure your bed is made up with fresh bedding. Make sure you have good furniture. With the vacuum cleaner, clean and sweep your floors. Dishwashing is required. How can you show that you can conduct talks in each room in your house? Take a trip around your property and consider what conversational topics you may have from each location. For example, you wouldn't believe how I ended up owning the one with the sculpture on the corner. My friend gave me some sound advice concerning the bedroom. Don't call it a bedroom. Why? Our purifying culture has implanted the word bedroom in your head to say, oh, sex alert. Its location also broadens its scope. His chamber is what my friend refers to as the space for meditation. You can talk about how you like to go to your mediation site and remain silent, sometimes thinking, contemplating, by calling it that. You can even make her smile by calling it that. You can get a giggle out of her by calling it that. And how you like to go to your mediation site and remain silent, sometimes thinking, contemplating, by calling it that. In your living room or bedroom, find a reason to sit quite near to each other. Take a look at my photo album. I have an excellent photograph from my previous blah blah vacation. I haven't been so happy to tell you, which is why you'll be sitting hip to hip on your couch while you move around and look at the most interesting photos. These are wonderful films. As you get closer to sex, they give you an appointment and an hour and a half on the sofa with her. If possible, watch a movie. It may be any lovely film, but if at all feasible, look for light comedy like Ghostbusters. By the way, Ghostbusters is a terrific movie to watch with the girl you just brought home because 1. It's a film that everyone remembers fondly from their childhood. 2. This movie contains several references to sexual excitement. The usual getting ready in the couch position is one of the nicest sex preludes you may experience with a woman. The other is sitting with your arm behind her and your back on the cushions, touching hip to hip. Assume you paused for a moment. The woman is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to sexuality. She'll become more comfortable as time goes on. Man, on the other hand, can be switched on and off like a light switch. What are your options for gradually heating it? From one level to the next, you must move steadily. Make sure you don't make any sudden movements or games that she can't warm up to. This will prevent sex from occurring. Touch her softly on the shoulder with your hand and extend her back at a certain moment when you're with her. Slowly place your hand on her collar in a more secure manner. If she is interested in you, she will hug or cuddle you. Don't allow yourself to get depressed or sad if she doesn't do it to herself. Relax and enjoy yourself instead. Now stretch your arm almost behind her. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. Almost touching her, your arm still touching the sofa. and attempt the former after a bit. Her feverish state will eventually progress to the point where putting your arm around her will cause her to die. Hands are quiet. Wrap your arm around hers and kiss her on the cheek. Enjoy the feel of her silky hair slipping through your fingers as you move it. Smell her hair and take a deep breath. When you're with her, there are things you can do to get ahead. Keep in mind the areas of her body listed below. Even if they are erogenous zones, their hair is number 1. Touching or stroking a woman's hair is the best approach to make her feel more comfortable. 2. Apply pressure to your head. It's fine, but this is really erogenous. 3. Her elbows and sides she can be shaken by the touch of your fingertips. 4. Her fingernail skin. The greatest method to grasp a woman's hand is to intertwine your fingers with hers. Her ears are number 5. Blow gently into her ears and touch the edges of her ear with the tip of your finger as you are about to kiss her. 6. Her ribcage. Her feet are number 7. Her toes were number 8. Knock all of the aforementioned spots on her body, and she will begin to wake up in the manner that we desire. As the temperature rises, place your face against his hair and take a deep breath. I adore the way your hair smells. You might say, you've wrapped your arms around her and are staring intensely into one other's eyes, perhaps with your mouth slightly ajar. Always gently touch your bottom lip against his at this point, and you'll see him melt into a kiss with you. Don't just place your tongue in his mouth, keep kissing him. Expect her to offer you a sliver of her tongue before exchanging kisses. Have you ever been incredibly apprehensive about kissing a female for the first time in the manner that I describe? You, too, can inadvertently bring that issue up by saying it. As I call it, my kiss was devoured, yes. The Tarifa my Basso method works in this way. How much would you score on a scale of 1 to 10 in your skill to kiss? You must ask when you feel that the situation has been created that is conducive to kissing. She may or may not respond, but in the vast majority of situations, ladies will open their lips, allowing you to move your face closer to her. The yell-inducing nonverbal sign "let's kiss." This is a fantastic nonverbal cue that says, "Kiss me now, a man of my dreams." Unlike any other strategy, in a nutshell, if you move your face and lips extremely close to her, after you've inhaled her hair and done all the other things you should be doing, watch her gently separate her lips. Although this is not always the case, the lady will usually close her eyes as well. You step closer to kiss her, concentrating on brushing your lips against hers rather than kissing her. Trust me when I say she'll melt into you and the two of you will be making out all night long. Among sexual activities, and that it is one of the few times when you allow the woman to take the lead. You should take the lead when things like piercing her happen, but she should take the lead when kissing. When a boy pushes his tongue in her mouth before she is ready, which he dislikes, it is the most lethal mode for women. Always keep in mind that she has to be prepared. So, during the kiss, just relax and watch what she does in the mirror. From the first kiss until the silver house, Alpha's technique of movement is revealed. You're not just dating her now, but you're hugging her as well, and you can touch and memorize every aspect of her body. From the time you first enter through the door of her apartment until you have sex, the entire process usually takes several hours. You peel her shirt down with care, button by button, then kiss her once more. 2 steps ahead. 1 step back is a good mantra to keep in mind. You remove 1 button, then the second, rub his hand, and smell his neck once more. Then rub her hair lightly. Go back to the first beat when you French kissed her and lightly touch her stomach. Slowly move your hand near her breasts. With your fingertips, softly touch them, then travel down to her belly button and feel her stomach. In most cases, she will be wearing a bra and a shirt. You'll be tempted to put your hands under her bra as time goes on. Remove her bra after you're sure you can touch her breasts. Return 2 steps back and give him another French kiss before repeating the process. Smell it, blow the ear, etc. He then begins sucking on her nipples and the space between her 2 breasts after that. Your objective is now third base after you've reached second base. By smelling and sucking on her breasts, towards the bottom of them, you nearly always ensure that you will place your penis into a woman if you give her oral sex. That reality is well understood by some women, so once you've started playing with your fingers on her clit, they'll put up barriers of resistance. That is, just as you're about to penetrate her, she'll begin to resist. My womanizing friend told me about a novel approach to the problem, which I tried and found to be effective. He makes it clear to ladies that he is interested in them. He gestures to his flaccid penis and says, "I can't have an erection. Sex. Isn't it obvious that I'm a softie?" He declares, "All I want to do is give you oral sex." She then massages his penis to make it hard before giving him oral sex. The woman nearly begs him to make love to her at this point, because she has had a tremendous orgasm from oral sex. So he kisses her, and this raises the broader issue of overcoming a woman's last-minute opposition. A lady may say things like, "We shouldn't be doing this," or "I don't want to go that far tonight," if you proceed too quickly into foreplay. Getting irritated and arguing with her is a common way for guys to ruin the chemistry. This is a dangerous trap to slip into. Instead, use words like "You're correct, we shouldn't be doing this," to calm her down. If you're looking for something different, we won't go quite that far, though. It's convenient that we've already accomplished this task. Like everyone else, I have boundaries. You're correct. We shouldn't enjoy ourselves so much on the first night. Return to what you were doing before, and then gently climb when you've verbally disarmed her. After another fall, if you travel slowly enough and keep going, a barrier will gradually appear. Let's say she's not wearing a shirt but still has her bra on and you've been stroking her breasts out of the fabric. This is too much for the first night, she says as you start undoing her bra. You respond, you're correct, this is a lot. We'll just carry on as before. Go backwards a few steps at this point. Massage her waist, stroke her hair, kiss her, and wrap her in a tight hug. Gradually raise the intensity. And then, when you're massaging her breasts again, do it so sensually and slowly that she won't be able to resist you removing her bra. When it comes to final penetration, it's important to distinguish between symbolic and physical resistance. Stop whatever you're doing if a woman says no. You have committed the crime of rape if you force a lady to have sex with you. You must keep this in mind at all times. Stop when she says no, but keep insisting on having sex with her until she tells you to stop. However, don't be afraid to take the initiative and approach her. They expect you to be active and enthusiastic since you are the man. Make it a point to take the lead whenever possible. Don't give up. Condoms, by the way, should be avoided. A woman's sexually aroused condition might be lifted by the sight of a condom wrapper in her hand, which triggers the part of her brain that has been programmed to believe that sex is wrong. While doing oral sex on the woman and she is too distracted to see what I am doing with my hands, I put the condom on so that when she is ready for him to penetrate her, everything goes well. Tomorrow after, you should call her after a night of love to avoid a woman experiencing buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse is the bad feeling you get after an aggressive electronics store salesperson persuades you to pay $200 for a warranty you'll never use. Many women go through it, perhaps too many if they believe they were only there for one night. They are also remorseful. A one-night stand is frequently all that every woman desires. Despite women's claims that males are the only ones interested in such things, my experience has been that women, possibly even more than men, like having affairs. Why? Women devote a lot of emotional energy into their relationships. They frequently take advantage of the opportunity for an affair with minimal social ramifications. You must pick what you desire the next morning. If you want to keep a relationship going with a lady after having passionate sex from the first time the two of you went out, this is the place to start. Make it clear to him that sex is a normal part of your relationship. Relationships are really important to me. I have high standards and will not engage in sexual activity with just any woman. And why should I only have sex with a woman who matches my criteria once? Why should I want to have sex with her if I don't want to stay with her? You can keep things casual between the two of you if you don't want to be in a relationship. To avoid her seeing you as anything more than a sexual companion, limit your visits to once a week. She will start to think of you as a potential partner if you contact her more than once a week. If you don't want to see her again, perhaps the sex was really bad. At least phone her to see how she's doing. Words of finishing. Becoming an alpha male. As long as you follow someone else's directions, it's nearly impossible to be an alpha male. You are the beta of a situation when someone tells you what to do and how to accomplish it. There are just two options, both of which offer advantages. You can begin by playing the game. Do your job, follow your boss's commands, and get rewarded, and you'll eventually rise up the corporate ladder. The disadvantages are that you'll have to follow office policy to get anywhere, and if you don't kiss your boss's arse, you'll be fired. Situations like this are not ideal for a man's self-esteem. By the way, aggressively flirting with that lovely secretary will get you out of trouble. When lower-level guys go for their women, top management guys get irritated. So, outside of the office, live your romantic life. In reality, having women on your team is always the best strategy at business. This keeps you out of trouble. The second option is to quit your job and establish your own company. This comes with a lot more risk, but you'll be in power of your own fate. That is the path I took when I was 29, leaving a corporate job to pursue my dream of being an inventor, and I have never regretted it. I had some challenging financial years, but I managed to get the business up and running. Putting money aside, the bottom line is that I don't follow commands. Take command to take on more leadership roles in your life. It makes no difference if you're a graduate assistant in a college class. Women are attracted to males who are in positions of power. Having your own business and being the boss of staff are both fantastic positions to be in. You gain alpha status when you have a large number of followers. By the way, having a meeting with a woman in a place where you are the boss is ideal. Stop by my office, and we'll go for a coffee there. One tactic is to tell the woman, when she arrives, she will notice that you are a powerful man who commands respect, granting her alpha status. Control how you are seen to project your ideal ego. We don't really live in reality. We live in what we perceive to be reality. Yet it is merely our interpretation of reality. Have you ever been taken aback when you heard a voice recording of yourself? That's how the others hear it, at least. It's not at all like the way you sound. When people see it, they don't view it as it is, but as they imagine you to be. People put various features and traits onto him and then treat him as a result. Depending on your projection, this might be a good thing or a bad thing. The crucial thing is that once you recognize that others project an identity onto you, You can take actions to control that identity. Avoiding beta male behaviors. Here's something we humans don't realize. We tend to assign greater weight to bad information about someone than favorable information. This is why you may be having a fantastic conversation with someone and then have a whole different opinion of them after they tell you that they were abducted by a UFO. You have mentally stamped a file with huge red letters that say crazy based on the UFO question, regardless of how brilliant and resourceful the individual has been in the last half hour. Because one wrong move might cost you 100 nice guys. Avoiding negative actions associated with low-status males or betas is critical if you don't want women to treat you like trash and tell you what to do. The following beta features should be avoided. 1. Seek approval by using phrases like not true or right at the end of statements. When you ask inquiries at the conclusion of sentences, you come out as weak-willed, especially if your tone of voice is increased. True. 2. Make an effort to be the boss. Could you do it better? Assume a more powerful mentality and psychological reality than the rest of the group. Assume that people are following you because you are the best at what you do. Know that instead of bossing people about, you can nicely ask them to do what you want. It's fascinating to witness military generals who are generally pleasant when directing a subordinate. 3. Be aggressive, whether with women or other males. When under duress, the alpha man can maintain his composure and move away when necessary. Starting a fight indicates that you are a low-status man. It also implies that battling for a woman's affections is the highest form of acceptance, lowering her appeal. However, if a guy pushes his boundaries and comes out with a stream of drool, let's say to scare him, there are moments when you must defend yourself, and do it correctly. 4. Stick to other people's agendas and talk about what they want to talk about, even if it's uninteresting to you. Do you recall how I sat with the girl I loved for 2 hours, listening to her sob stories about her neighbor? That was a bad decision. The alpha only discusses what he desires. Look at any alpha in action and you'll see what I'm talking about. When an alpha male is bored, he makes no attempt to hide his disinterest. As a result, please don't pay attention to others unless they've earned it. 5. Try to match a person's intelligence and demonstrate that you are smarter than the individual with whom you are conversing. When you examine leaders in corporate boardrooms or governors' palaces, you'll see that the top ones are so confident in themselves that they can listen to experts in other fields. You don't need to be smart to succeed, but you do need to hire smart people. 6. Make a mental note of every attractive woman you come across. You shouldn't do it since a man with an active sex life doesn't have time for it. While you're admiring the attractive bodies around you, pay attention to the different emotions you get from ladies. Observe how they begin to take attention of you and want to show or demonstrate something to you. Alpha men take up the mantle of leadership as if it were their birthright, and they operate as natural leaders. They are unconcerned about what other people think. They go about their business without seeking approbation. They do, however, provide a benefit to those that follow them, whether it is social prestige, enthusiasm and excitement, or engaging discourse. People accept the alpha reality because they wish to, since alphas discuss intriguing issues, or because everyone else does. People, particularly women, pay attention because the alpha's speaking style is intriguing. Why? It's simple. He talks about fascinating topics. As a result, other people become absorbed in their own reality, which makes them feel interesting. So, how do you come up with interesting talking points? It's as simple as that. Live a fulfilling, well-balanced existence. You will be inherently attractive to ladies if you do so. Maintain a full schedule with job, social activities, and personal development. He does not play video games when he sits down. Take a spin, go snorkeling, take dance classes, or phone an old buddy. You have something to talk about with women when your life is interesting and entertaining. And when you do speak with a woman, take the initiative. Captivate your audience's attention. You'll focus on adopting the alpha attitude as you work on your actions. The first thing I'd like to point out is that all alpha males expect that others would follow their lead. They aren't domineering because they don't need to be. They are secure in the knowledge that others will follow them. Being in charge can soon backfire since few individuals enjoy being told what to do. People will stick to your reality if you do your thing and are passionate about it. Simply act as though people will follow you, and believe that they will, and you will find that your dreams will come true. This brings up a crucial point. Look at reality instead than adjusting to it. Create your own reality instead. This implies that you should act as if everything is going according to plan. Act as if you'd make an excellent fit for any woman. Act as if sex isn't a huge deal for you, as it isn't for males who have sex on a regular basis. Even if you don't have much or any sex right now, you should imitate the mindset of a man who does. Act as if all of your macho desires are completely natural, because they are. You don't need to apologize or hide your sex drive as nice guys do. Act as if what a woman thinks has no bearing on you, because what you think is far more important. Women, believe it or not, will hold him in higher regard as a result of this. Many men get into the trap of wondering what the lady is thinking all of the time. Don't be concerned. Instead, recognize that she has a hungry, wild woman inside of her who desires intense, passionate sex with you. Simply unwind. Give her an opportunity to be drawn to you by being an appealing guy. She will miss out on this gift if she does not take it. Don't lose hope. Have you ever noticed how successful athletes such as Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods are confident in their abilities? Confidence leads to success. Assume you'll succeed, and your attitude will help you succeed. Assume you're a woman's dream. Make a strong and decisive statement. Be natural and fun at the same time. Don't be a jerk, but don't be an idiot. If you want, wear a devilish grin. Women must want you because you are an exciting man. In life, do what you want. Honesty is the best policy. Don't do something if you aren't required to. Recognize your own shortcomings. Make a name for yourself. What exactly does it imply? If you really want to motivate a jerk, go ahead and do it. If you want to help, go down the street and look for an elderly lady who says, 1. You may do so at any time. Please let your girlfriend in by opening the door. 2. Don't feel obligated to do any of those things simply because they are required of you. 3. Act as if you want to do something. Finally, you will experience the happiest time of your life when you become an alpha male. A man who is loyal to himself. One of many positive consequences will be going to bed. As an added bonus, how about that? Fixing the mindset about you with simple alpha male practice. You must understand that every woman would consider herself fortunate to possess it. The following are the questions I'd like to pose to you. Write down your answers to the questions. This is a simple exercise, but it's crucial if you haven't fully internalized the alpha male's mentality. It's also a good idea to jot down these details so you can refer back to them later if you need to recall them during your journey. How can you make a woman feel good in different ways if she enters your life? You have mentally stamped a file with huge red letters that say crazy based on the UFO question, regardless of how brilliant and resourceful the individual has been in the last half hour. Because one wrong move might cost you 100 nice guys. Avoiding negative actions associated with low-status males or betas is critical if you don't want women to treat you like trash and tell you what to do. The following beta features should be avoided. 1. Seek approval by using phrases like not true or right at the end of statements. When you ask inquiries at the conclusion of sentences, you come out as weak-willed, especially if your tone of voice is increased. True. 2. Make an effort to be the boss. Could you do it better? Assume a more powerful mentality and psychological reality than the rest of the group. Assume that people are following you because you are the best at what you do. Know that instead of bossing people about, you can nicely ask them to do what you want. It's fascinating to witness military generals who are generally pleasant when directing a subordinate. 3. Be aggressive, whether with women or other males. When under duress, the alpha man can maintain his composure and move away when necessary. Starting a fight indicates that you are a low-status man. It also implies that battling for a woman's affections is the highest form of acceptance, lowering her appeal. However, if a guy pushes his boundaries and comes out with a stream of drool, let's say to scare him, there are moments when you must defend yourself, and do it correctly. 4. Stick to other people's agendas and talk about what they want to talk about, even if it's uninteresting to you. Do you recall how I sat with the girl I loved for 2 hours, listening to her sob stories about her neighbor? That was a bad decision. The alpha only discusses what he desires. Look at any alpha in action and you'll see what I'm talking about. When an alpha male is bored, he makes no attempt to hide his disinterest. As a result, please don't pay attention to others unless they've earned it. 5. Try to match a person's intelligence and demonstrate that you are smarter than the individual with whom you are conversing. When you examine leaders in corporate boardrooms or governors' palaces, you'll see that the top ones are so confident in themselves that they can listen to experts in other fields. You don't need to be smart to succeed, but you do need to hire smart people. 6. Make a mental note of every attractive woman you come across. You shouldn't do it since a man with an active sex life doesn't have time for it. While you're admiring the attractive bodies around you, pay attention to the different emotions you get from ladies. Observe how they begin to take attention of you and want to show or demonstrate something to you. Alpha men take up the mantle of leadership as if it were their birthright, and they operate as natural leaders. They are unconcerned about what other people think. They go about their business without seeking approbation. They do, however, provide a benefit to those that follow them, whether it is social prestige, enthusiasm and excitement, or engaging discourse. People accept the alpha reality because they wish to, since alphas discuss intriguing issues, or because everyone else does. People, particularly women, pay attention because the alpha's speaking style is intriguing. Why? It's simple. He talks about fascinating topics. As a result, other people become absorbed in their own reality, which makes them feel interesting. So, how do you come up with interesting talking points? It's as simple as that. Live a fulfilling, well-balanced existence. You will be inherently attractive to ladies if you do so. Maintain a full schedule with job, social activities, and personal development. He does not play video games when he sits down. Take a spin, go snorkeling, take dance classes, or phone an old buddy. You have something to talk about with women when your life is interesting and entertaining. And when you do speak with a woman, take the initiative. Captivate your audience's attention. You'll focus on adopting the alpha attitude as you work on your actions. The first thing I'd like to point out is that all alpha males expect that others would follow their lead. They aren't domineering because they don't need to be. They are secure in the knowledge that others will follow them. Being in charge can soon backfire since few individuals enjoy being told what to do. People will stick to your reality if you do your thing and are passionate about it. Simply act as though people will follow you, and believe that they will. and you will find that your dreams will come true. This brings up a crucial point. Look at reality instead than adjusting to it. Create your own reality instead. This implies that you should act as if everything is going according to plan. Act as if you'd make an excellent fit for any woman. Act as if sex isn't a huge deal for you, as it isn't for males who have sex on a regular basis. Even if you don't have much or any sex right now, you should imitate the mindset of a man who does. Act as if all of your macho desires are completely natural, because they are. You don't need to apologize or hide your sex drive as nice guys do. Act as if what a woman thinks has no bearing on you, because what you think is far more important. Women, believe it or not, will hold him in higher regard as a result of this. Many men get into the trap of wondering what the lady is thinking all of the time. Don't be concerned. Instead, recognize that she has a hungry, wild woman inside of her who desires intense, passionate sex with you. Simply unwind. Give her an opportunity to be drawn to you by being an appealing guy. She will miss out on this gift if she does not take it. Don't lose hope. Have you ever noticed how successful athletes such as Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods are confident in their abilities? Confidence leads to success. Assume you'll succeed, and your attitude will help you succeed. Assume you're a woman's dream. Make a strong and decisive statement. Be natural and fun at the same time. Don't be a jerk, but don't be an idiot. If you want, wear a devilish grin. Women must want you because you are an exciting man. In life, do what you want. Honesty is the best policy. Don't do something if you aren't required to. Recognize your own shortcomings. Make a name for yourself. What exactly does it imply? If you really want to motivate a jerk, go ahead and do it. If you want to help, go down the street and look for an elderly lady who says, 1. You may do so at any time. Please let your girlfriend in by opening the door. 2. Don't feel obligated to do any of those things simply because they are required of you. 3. Act as if you want to do something. Finally, you will experience the happiest time of your life when you become an alpha male. A man who is loyal to himself. One of many positive consequences will be going to bed. As an added bonus, how about that? Fixing the mindset about you with simple alpha male practice. You must understand that every woman would consider herself fortunate to possess it. The following are the questions I'd like to pose to you. Write down your answers to the questions. This is a simple exercise, but it's crucial if you haven't fully internalized the alpha male's mentality. It's also a good idea to jot down these details so you can refer back to them later if you need to recall them during your journey. How can you make a woman feel good in different ways if she enters your life?